Hi, everybody. So this is the second day, is that right? Yes? Lots of energy in the room, I see. Is it the second day? Yes, it is. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you a little bit about what's happening in the digital world and how we look at analyzing trends. Some people say that it's the Renaissance time of payments. Even Forbes recently published more payments companies in their top fintechs than ever before recently. And that's because our world and our industries are changing, regardless of what those are. It's because digital and physical continue to come together, and being able to pay for things, whether we like it or not, or get money to someone, whether we like it or not, is a key to getting whatever it is you want to do. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes on some trends. When Mastercard looks at analyzing trends, we really think about how do we de-risk new products, services, use cases, consumer needs, even B2B needs. And we do it under the guise of some key components. One is macroeconomics and regulatory concerns. Other markets have had bigger strides there in different ways, or strides or direction might be a good word. Others is consumer. And then, of course, there's emerging technologies. And the reason we look at everything in the way we do is because what our core focus is about how do we make sure that our infrastructure is allowing money to move around the world, providing services, new products, and other tools that allow us to involve with this new industry and do it in a way that has limited risk and limited friction. And it sounds very easy, but for many of you, and you spend a lot of time in your day-to-day, I ran through a lot of the companies here even displaying, focusing on the same thing. But because I have 15 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on a couple of trends that I think are near and dear to our heart. So I'm going to go through all of these in finite detail. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to hit the ones that I think, based on who's here, are probably the most relevant for this audience. And so I'll focus on consumer, digital first, data conscious, and then I'll also talk about convenience-driven behavior a little bit. And so we'll go through this in a quick fashion, and then from there, I'd love to have the opportunity to demo something with you on something that we're doing as an industry to move things through. So if we start and we talk about digital first, consumers are digital first. What does that mean? It means that people aren't really willing to wait for things anymore, and they're living in a world where things that used to be something you'd wait for or have some type of friction are going away. And so we have a huge focus on what digital first means and what we're doing. Most recently, we provided a product to the marketplace that allowed consumers to have a credit card, that could be approved instantly, you received it instantly, and it didn't come actually with a traditional card. You can have a traditional card later if you want one, but it's this idea of having the digital experience come second is going away. And for many of you, that's what you do all day, but in a carded industry, it is actually a difference. And we're able to do that with different things we have. One thing's called push provisioning. I know, it's a very trendy name. And what that does is it allows you, from one place to another, to push the needed data elements and information for a person, in this case, to apply for a card and then, in fact, actually use it in places real time. But the concept is there, and a lot of people here, I'm sure, are focused on that. And it's because this digital-first world will continue to evolve. And so focusing on what that means, not only in infrastructure, but in offers, services, even acquisitions, is a really fundamental part for Mastercard. So, transforming industries. What does that mean? What it means is, because of this payments ecosystem changing in such a rapid pace, industries have the opportunity to do lots of things they've never done before. If you think about it, it's a very basic and now seems like kind of almost antique. You jump in your lift and you leave and you don't pay. For anyone who tried to do that today like me, you also sat still for about 45 minutes because of the traffic, but is what it is. But that's something that's new and different, but there's more. And so even recently, we've been doing a pilot with Sonic, which is a quick service restaurant in the US, on working with voice to figure out how do we help people order more easily through a drive-through and pay more easily. How do we remove the friction and give people what they want? And that's just one example. We also, in Canada recently, just did a partnership with Goop, where we made what would traditionally be a retail experience for a direct-to-consumer brand purely digital. And I use these examples because, frankly, they're the most recent top of mind for me right now. But we do that actively, and we do that with all types of customers and all types of partners, and really with new ideas. And the reason for that is because every industry is transforming. Every industry, even from contactless cards. So we're very proud of the fact that we had Fairback Fridays at Mastercard for a little while when the MTA became contactless and certain lines. And it had huge adoption. And the reason for that is because contactless is faster. It's solving a consumer need. Cards still work, but we allow consumer choice. That's an industry that's trending to do things that are different for people. It's the first step. And for anyone who's trying to get habitual usage with their consumer for the betterment of their experience, contactless is a fabulous way to do it. And I could go on and on with many other industries that are transforming. But the point is, it doesn't actually matter what the industry is. What truly matters is making sure you have infrastructure that, again, reduces friction and increases security. And that's a key focus. So I've touched on those two. So connectivity and access and personalization for consumers. That's not my cat. It's very cute. Mine's much fatter. So here, the IoT market's growing. Everyone's talking about it. People are continue to be more connected. That's a real thing. That's not going away. I've never had anybody debate that with me. Making sure you're doing things to effectively leverage that trend is very, very important. We talked a little bit about voice commerce. And then there's also subscription services on the rise. Everyone's reading about how everything's turning into a subscription service. It allows people choice, easy to manage, and with that requires technology and infrastructure to support it as the trend grows. But the keen interest here is security and privacy in these things. It's very easy to have a friction-free experience if somebody has every piece of data that you want about you, and there's no security. It could be as friction-free as you want. Have a party. But the problem is the long-term effects of that aren't meaningful. And that's why we focus very much on, too fast. We focus very much on transparency through tokenization, as well as security and friction-free experiences. So I've talked a lot about tokenization. Hopefully, most of you haven't had to labor listening to me talk before. But if you have, what I'll touch on is tokenization is the underpinning of everything I talk about, whether it be IoT, whether it be voice, whether it be card on file. So when you get out of your lift, the card's already there. Whether it be a digital wallet, it frankly doesn't matter. Tokenization sits behind it. And today, we talk about tokenization with cards, but that also doesn't matter. Mastercard's a multi-rail company, can tokenize that too. And why it matters is because what it does is it makes the transaction secure by enabling a cryptogram so that even if it's hacked, nothing can be done with that information, that payment information. It helps manage people's data in a way that data elements that need to get sent for a transaction get sent, but there's nothing that can be done with them, and extra data doesn't need to go anywhere. So it helps protect privacy, and it helps lifecycle management. So in fact, you can decouple anything you're doing, whether you're tapping your fitness band to get a bottle of water, or yelling at something to buy via voice, it just doesn't matter. The digital token continues to live. And those are fundamental things for the ecosystem around the world. And no one throws you a party when you start talking about tokenization, cocktail parties, people aren't lining up because they're super excited, but it is actually critical. It's critical to continue the evolution, this payments renaissance that we talk about. But how you get them matters too. And so having these great things, but without a flexible way to connect to them, and having meaningful APIs, and having a way to snap things in, and standards and governance, also isn't helpful if you don't have those things. And so we have a strong focus on enabling the ecosystem, very strong focus on enabling the ecosystem, regardless of the use case, regardless of the country, and regardless of the partner and customer, to do that. So, with a maniacal focus on experience, what I will say is that today, we'll just do it now, current time, there's lots of different ways you can pay for things. You can pay for things like I talked about with a digital wallet. You can tap and pay. You can leave your card on file, which I'm sure many people do for membership services today. I would actually say if you are stuck in a Lyft or a taxi on your way out of here and looking for something to do, try to write down how many places you think your card is on file. If I was a betting person, I'd bet you're going to run short. And so card on file will continue to grow. But there is one use case that's not only not as secure, but also very painful, and that is guest checkout. And so what guest checkout does today is it allows you as a consumer to have choice. It allows you to maybe not leave your card with that merchant. You don't want to. You don't shop there that much. That's great. The problem is the experience is really tough, and it's not tokenized, which means you could have increased fraud. Digital transactions are going at 4x retail transactions. That's really happening. And guest checkout is still over 50% of checkout experiences digitally. And so we have to solve for that. And so what we've done is we've participated with EMVCo on something called Secure Remote Commerce. And what that does, it's an industry standard, much like we have for contactless, much like we have for EMV, chip and pin, when you guys stick your cards in there and use your chip. It's an industry standard, and what we've done is we're supporting that, and that will go live later this year in a trial format. But then we've also done things to differentiate on top of it so that we can secure the ecosystem for guest checkout, give people the best user experience they have for guest checkout in case they want to use a guest checkout, but also provide different value-added services so that the consumer and our customers can differentiate. But rather than me keep talking at you, because I feel like I'm already losing some interest, my jokes didn't work at all either. I'll have to definitely rework them. Let me do a quick demo. It's very, very quick. And so I'll just jump right in here. OK, so we're going to do a little bit of imagination here. Let's pretend you're at your partner bank. You guys can all imagine whichever bank you want, the one you have. If you want to create your own, doesn't matter. So you're in your banking app, and I decide I'm going to sign in. And when I sign in, the cards that I have pop up, because my bank knows who I am. And I go to my bank a lot because I'm usually checking different things, either statement credits or transactions or open to buy, whatever it may be. So for this, it says, hey, why don't you try this new way to pay? It's easy to use. It's a simple checkout. I say, great. I am going to pick my account and enroll now. So I pick my cards. I make sure I have my terms and conditions. It's very important that we have our terms and conditions, but we make it friction-free here. I hit continue, and I'm done. And so what I've just done there is I've been able to add a card and put it into an environment that next time I want to do a guest checkout, I actively choose I want to check out like a guest. I may not want to leave my card with that merchant. Maybe I don't want to use my digital wallet that day. Whatever that may be, I can do it friction-free. So then I go shopping, and I decide I'm going to buy a blue sneaker. So I buy the sneaker. I recognize the icon, the chevron. I'm like, wait, I signed up for this through my bank. I hit Secure Remote Checkout, and then it shows me the cards that I provisioned in from my bank. I hit World Elite Mastercard. I hit Continue. I confirm my order, and I'm done. It's that fast. What you saw was there's no password. There's no password. It's a best-in-class guest checkout, and it's tokenized through the flow. Then I decide I'm going to continue shopping. I decide I want a hat. I add it to the cart. I recognize the chevron. I go ahead and I click on it. But this time, I see that my card has an option. It's Pay with Rewards. That's a Mastercard differentiator. That is not part of the standard. It's just to give you an idea of where you can do things, where the payment standard, where you can add new things. And so I hit Pay with Rewards. I hit Continue. I look. I confirm my order. And it tells me what my Pay with Rewards balance is. That quick, real time, done. And it's merchant independent. And so I'll leave you with this. That's coming very soon. And it's in a way that Mastercard is focused on making sure that whatever your business may be, whatever you're doing in the ecosystem, that you have the infrastructure, the best user experience, the data services, and anything else you really think that needs to be innovative before, after, and during a payment. And we're focused on doing that for you worldwide, but today we'll talk about the US. So with that, I thank you and have a great day.